Okay, if you guys are here, my guess is it's because you're in a rut either with your content, with your social media. You feel like it's hard to create right now. And I've definitely been in that position. And it's really hard to dig yourself out when you feel like you're in a rut. So I want to give you guys some insight on some things that you specifically should not be doing if you're in a rut. But also, what are some of the things that you can be doing? Because let's be real, like building a business on social media, creating content, producing consistently, trying not to consume a bunch of content so you can stay creative, it can be really hard, right? And maybe you're going to other entrepreneurs, other creators' pages, and you're looking for inspiration. And let's be real, a lot of the times that can lead you to falling into the comparison trap or just not feeling super creative. So before you throw in the towel, before you go further and further into this rut, I just want to give you some insight on some things that have helped me a ton, and some things that are not only going to help you get out of the rut, but also some things that are going to help you be preventative of a rut in the future as well, and also just to be able to build your business and do this in a way that's actually sustainable and has longevity. So first things first, let's just talk about some of the things you should not be doing if you are in a rut. Okay, number one, I have been in this space for a very long time. I've scaled 2 coaching companies to multiple 7 figures, completely organic, so without any paid traffic. And I'm going to tell you the first thing that I see people do whenever they're not generating leads or they're not getting engagement on their content is they want to throw money at their content. And I promise you, if your engagement isn't up, if you're not getting views, if you're not being seen by people without you paying for traffic, paid traffic isn't necessarily going to work for you. And in fact, I would much rather you just save that money. And here's why. If you're not getting views organically, it's more than likely that you need to work on your messaging, you need to work on your marketing, and you need to work on your content resonating there with your people. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that later in the video. But if you're struggling with this already, I don't recommend wasting your money. And I say wasting because you can save that money. You can use it later down the line once you really get your brand to a place that's magnetic and your content is attracting the right kind of person. The second thing, okay, don't make your analytics, don't make the numbers mean something about you as an individual. I see this happen to so many people where they think that their engagement, they think that the numbers, the algorithm, whatever, it becomes a direct reflection of who you are. But at the end of the day, your content is your content and who you are is who you are. Your identity is not rooted in your numbers. And when you start to make the numbers about you as an individual, it's really hard to show up, right? Because you feel like people don't like you. You feel like if you're not being seen, maybe you're irrelevant or whatever might be coming up for you. The numbers are the numbers, okay? Numbers are simply just feedback for you. If you're not being seen, if people aren't engaging on your post, if they're not starting conversations with you, it's not that you suck, okay? It's not that you're a bad person. You're probably friggin' amazing. The trick is that you maybe just don't know how to market and you don't know how to sell to your people correctly. So instead of making the numbers mean something about you, instead try to really detach yourself from that. It's really easy to fall in a bigger rut when you start looking at your analytics and when you're spending day over day or when you're looking at them hour by hour to see if they're going up. That is literally going to drive you insane. So if you're in a rut right now, I'm not saying to completely avoid the numbers, but just try to really detach from them. They mean nothing about you as an individual. Okay, the third thing to not do. This one I see so frequently. Consistency is where it's at. Okay, most of the time if people aren't getting the traction that they want to get, it's because they've niched down, but they're not actually doing the right things for a long enough amount of time. It's not that you're even necessarily not doing the right things. You might actually be doing the right things, but if you're not doing them consistently for a long enough amount of time, then you really don't have the momentum built for those things to actually pay off in your business. So if you're looking to gain more traction, it might be that you just need more consistency. What I see happening for a lot of people and what I specifically do not want you to do is to keep pivoting. I see people pivot all the time. Now, I know that I made a massive pivot last year. If you've been on this channel, you know my story. I used to be an online health and fitness coach. I started business coaching 4 years ago. I fully made my pivot to business coaching last year, but I had years of experience in the fitness coaching space. I made a massive pivot, and that was the only pivot I decided to make. So if you're looking to gain more traction more consistently, then people want to see consistency. They want to see predictability. They want you to be the go-to for whatever the thing is that you're really, really good at. And if you keep switching up, if you keep changing things every few weeks, every few months, people aren't really going to be able to stay around long enough for you to actually be an interest to them. So if you're not getting the engagement that you want, again, it's not necessarily about pivoting or changing things up a crap ton or your strategy. It's more, can you get extremely consistent and can you become the go-to for people so they keep coming back to your page? Okay, the last one. Now, I will tell you guys, this is one that's honestly even tough for me. One thing to not do is if you find yourself in a content rut, try to spend the minimal amount of time that you can consuming. I know it's so easy to go to other coaches' pages or to get on social media, to get on Instagram, to get on YouTube, whatever it might be, and to start scrolling and going to other people's pages for inspiration. And oftentimes the reason that we have a creative block is because we're over consuming. You need to be producing more than you're consuming. So if you find yourself on your phone scrolling a ton, try to take the time to just get off of your phone. If you're comparing yourself to other creators or you're trying to emulate another creator's voice, it's not actually you, right? Like you're basically just emulating another person. And in order for you to really stand out, it comes down to you just being self-expressed, right? It comes down to you being unique. And the only way for you to really be unique is for you to be you. So instead of going and consuming other people's content, focus more on asking yourself hard questions like, what do I want to create? What are my gifts? What's my superpower? What do people actually want to see from me? And start with that first before you go to other people's page for inspiration. So now that we talked about some things that you don't want to do because they can potentially put you deeper into a rut, let's talk about some of the things that you can do if you feel like you're maybe in a rut, or honestly, these are just things that you should be doing consistently anyway if you want to be more seen on social media. The first thing is I do like to integrate in a little bit of strategy. So I want you to ask yourself, where can you really dial things up when it comes to exposure to your content? I find that so many people will post a piece of content and then they won't actually hype it up or create energy around it. I want you to ask yourself, like if you're posting on Instagram and you put it on your feed, are you posting on your story? Are you elaborating on it in your story? Are you going live on a day-to-day basis and talking about the specific topics that you've been bringing up that week throughout your content? Are you creating a broadcast channel, or are you, sharing it with maybe some leads or prospects that you've been DMing? Are you sending them live videos of you that you've done trainings that maybe they can learn from? See, the number one thing that you want to be doing is you want to be getting exposure with every single piece of content that you put out. Not only that, but also I want you to ask yourself this, is like, can you become the go-to for something specific, right? Like if you're a health and fitness coach, can you be the person that everyone goes to for specific glute exercises or specific mobility work? If you're somebody who is a, functional practitioner, are you the person that someone comes to when they want to learn about supplements? Or if you're a wealth coach, are you somebody that, people will come to whenever they're looking to save money and whenever they're looking to make their next investment, right? You need to basically just become the go-to for something. And so when you're really consistent in your messaging and when you keep showing up for that thing, and you keep exposing it to more people, you start to become the go-to. So you kind of leave this imprint in people's head and they're like, holy crap, like I need to go to that person's page. And of course, that's what's going to have people keep coming back for more. The second thing. Now, I know that this is the one that everyone always just is like, oh, okay, let me fast forward through this part, but you have to really know your why. At the end of the day, this whole social media thing, this whole content thing, I think it's genuinely only getting harder. Like I've been in the industry for over 7 years. I've been on social media since 2012. And, every single year I see the algorithms change. I see more people enter the industry. There's more competition than ever. So if you really want to be in this and in it for the long run, so you really need to understand your why. When you have a why, when you have a vision, on the days where it's really hard, on the days where maybe someone cancels a sales call or your post flops and it doesn't do as well as you thought, or the person ghosts you, your why is the thing that keeps you going at the end of the day. And so really getting to understand that why, right? Like if you are looking to get more engagement, I'm going to ask you why. If you're looking to make more money, like why do you want to make more money, right? And so when you start to ask yourself these deeper questions, it gives you deeper meaning so that on the days when it is hard, you still want to show up. And, if you're looking to really figure out like, what is my why? What is my purpose? This book that I read a few years ago is really, really good. It's by Simon Sinek. And it's called Start With Why. And it's a really good one if you're really looking to find your purpose and dig deeper into that. Okay, then the third and the final one, are you actually self-expressed? Like, are you actually being yourself? Or whenever you turn on the camera, do you find that you're curating this version of yourself that you feel like you need to be in order for people to like you? Because at the end of the day, what ends up happening is if you're this curated version of yourself that you think you need to be, and you're stepping into this people pleaser, or you're stepping into this, just curated, super professional version of yourself when you're actually someone who's super goofy and weird and funny, well, then you're just going to attract people that aren't necessarily your people. And what's really hard about that is you feel really incongruent at the end of the day if you have a bunch of people that you're serving that you're not actually aligned with. You're not actually going to build a community that you feel involved in or feel passionate about. And so I want to really have you think about this. Like whenever you show up on social media, are you just posting something that you think your audience is going to like? Or are you actually expressing yourself? I wish I could see more of this on social right now. If there's like one request I have, all the people that I follow on Instagram and people I follow on TikTok, they're all people that I can tell are just so freaking self-expressed. Like there's no filter. They're talking about the things that they love. They're sharing their opinions. They're sharing their thought leadership. They're not putting this filter on who they are. And honestly, if you just show up more congruent, if you just show up without that filter and you stop curating any version of yourself that you think you need to, yeah, it might feel a little weird at first, but it's the number one thing that you need to be doing if you really want to show up authentically and you have more people that will actually resonate with you and be able to build a brand and a community. And the cool thing is like when you have more of the right kind of people, you actually want to create more content. And yeah, you might be weeding some people out that you aren't necessarily meant to serve, but that's actually a really good thing. You want more people that you will align with on your page. So if you're someone who's at your wit's end, if you feel like content creation has become more difficult, I hear you, but I really want you to practice these things. Save this video, give it a like. If this is something that you felt like was really helpful, I'd love to hear it in the comments down below. And just come back to this video if you ever feel like you're in a rut. And also, if you want to be preventative from being in a rut ever again, or just moving into the future of content creation, save this, come back to it consistently, and put these things into practice. I don't just make these videos for you guys to watch them and be like, whatever. No, put this shit into practice, okay? Put it into play. Start doing these every single day. And if you guys want to hit me up over on Instagram and let me know what your biggest takeaway was from this, or if you implement these things, how it feels with you implementing them, and if you get yourself out of this rut. As always, I'm open for conversations on the gram. I'll put my Instagram down below. But I love you guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.